Hello everyone. So this is the second lectures of the advanced power system analysis. So here we are going to discuss the bus classification and formulation of the admittance matrix. Why we are going to use admittance matrix? Why we are not going to prefer the impedance matrix in the load flow analysis? So in this from this lectures we are going to start the unit 1, that is the load flow analysis. So here in previous, first we are going to recap of the previous lectures. In the previous lectures, we have discussed the basic contents, syllabus contents of the course, this advanced power system analysis. Then based on the course contents, we design the course outcomes. Then after that, we also discussed the power flow directions and its equations. Also, we have analyzed the capacitive, inductive, and resistive power triangles. So in these lectures, we are just going to discuss the what are the bus nomenclatures with variables, what are the variables are known quantity, what are the variables are unknown quantity. So here, so in this case, then we have to represent the power system and then formulation of the admittance matrix. That is the most important. So here you, so first we will discuss the bus classification. So we can define the bus. So a bus is a node at which many transmission lines or loads or generators are connected. So that is called a bus. We can say this is the node. So where we can apply the KCL. So it is not a necessary that all of them be connected at every bus. So few loads, few generators, few transmission lines are connected. Suppose in the system have the n number of branches, transmission line. So all the transmission lines may not be connected to a particular bus. It is not a necessary. So bus is the indicated by vertical lines at which number of the components are connected. So in load flow study, 2 out of 4 quantities are specified. So you know that in the power system, we are going to calculate the active power, that is the P, and reactive power Q, magnitude of voltage V, and its angle. So these 4 quantity are we are going to calculate using the load flow analysis. So in load flow study, 2 out of the 4 quantity are specified and other 2 quantity are to be determined by load flow equations. So as you know that these are the 4 number of variables. So we required at least 4 equations. But in power system, we know that only we know that what is the active power have the equations and reactive power equations. These two equations are known, but we have the 4 variables. So these 4 variables can be solved using the bus classification method. In each bus, 2 values are given and 2 values we have to calculate using the PQ relations. So this is the nonlinear equations. So using these nonlinear equations and iterative methods, we can solve other 2 unknown variables. So using load flow analysis, we are going to calculate. So, so here see the importance of the bus classification. So here bus are classified to observe or to calculate the unknown quantity of the power system. Generally, we are going to calculate mod V and del of a particular bus. So these 2 quantity we have to calculate all each buses. So this is the way we are going to calculate. So what are the classification of the buses? So first bus, these buses are classified as the slack bus, reference bus, or swing bus. Why it is called a slack bus, reference bus, swing bus, we will discuss. Second known as the generator or PV or voltage control bus. Third is known as the load bus. So in any power network, only these three types of buses are there. So based on these buses, two quantity are known and two quantity are unknown among the all four quantities. So what are the variables are associated with each bus? Here the magnitude of the bus voltage, that is represented by mod V, and bus voltage angle, that is represented by del, active power P, reactive power Q. So these four quantity we have to represent at each buses. So based on the classification of the buses, two quantity are given, are labeled. Other two quantity we have to obtain using the load flow analysis. So unknown variable at each bus are obtained using the load flow analysis. This is the basic objectives of the bus classification. So bus classify, here you can see. So we have to tabulated. So first bus is the called as a slack bus or swing bus or reference bus. So we will discuss why it is called a slack, swing or reference bus. Having the known quantity is the magnitude voltage, here the mod V. This is the mod V. And del, angle, it is the known quantity, and we have to calculate what is the active power and reactive power. We have to determine using the load flow equations. Then second bus classified as the generator or voltage, or it is called a PV bus, having the known quantity magnitude of the voltage and active power. The unknown quantity is the reactive power and angle. So this is the, we have to, using these known quantity, we have to calculate the reactive power and angle. So last one is called a load bus, also called, this is the PQ bus. PQ bus means P and Q are the known quantity. So that's why it is called a PQ bus. It is also known as the load bus. Here in this bus have the only loads are connected. So here P and Q are the known quantity. You have to calculate the magnitude of voltage and angle. And similarly in the generator bus, you can see that this is called a PV bus because the active power and magnitude of voltage are the known quantity. So now come to the load bus or PQ bus. Why it is called a load bus or PQ bus? PQ bus means it have the P and Q are known quantity. Bus where only load is connected and no generator exists. In this is called a load bus. Only loads are connected. There is no form, any form of the generation is not there. So means this is the generated active power PG, active power generated, and reactive power generated will be 0 for any load bus. So real power demand, that is represented by PD, and reactive power demand, that is QD, are drawn from the supply because the load connected. Load can be in the form of the resistive or inductive or capacitive or in the combination. Generally we can see that all the loads are the resistive or inductive. They are consuming the reactive power. So consuming the reactive power as well as active power. So demand power and active power and reactive power, they are given. So PD and QD are the known values. Only the mod V and del are the unknown quantity. So you know that this is the unknown quantity. So in power flow equations, PD and QD, this is the negative quantity because they are taking the power from the bus. PG and QG are the positive quantity because they are generator or some source where they can capable to inject the power and they are taking the power. So that's why it is negative. This is the positive. But in the load bus, PG and QG will be 0. So now come to the generator bus. So in generator bus, or it is called a voltage control bus, and sometimes it is called a PV bus. PV bus means active power and voltage are the known quantity. So bus voltage magnitude can be controlled in this bus. So voltage magnitude can be controlled using the some compensator other devices. So at this bus we have to connect the alternators. A megawatt generation can be controlled. Suppose we want to increase the generation power of a system, so we have to connect the generator at the voltage control or generator bus or this bus. So real PG and magnitude voltage is the known quantity. They have given this quantity. Phase angle del and reactive power QD we have to find out. What is the del voltage phase angle and reactive power we have to find out. For good voltage profile, AVR automatic voltage regulator can be used to regulate the reactive power and its magnitude. This is the voltage control, so that's why it is called a voltage control. And generator bus means it have the megawatt generation, so that's why it have the generator bus or voltage control bus or PV bus. So here the slack and swing and reference bus. Why it is called a slack, reference, swing bus? So in power system transmission line, you can see load flow for the generator to load via transmission line. So you know that the transmission line is playing main role in the loss. So I square R loss occur due to the losses in the transmission line conductors. So this loss can be controlled by this bus, and all other angles, all other buses angles means in terms of the voltage angles are swing with this bus. So each network have at least minimum one bus can be considered as a slack or swing or reference bus. They can capable to provide only the loss in the system. So power balance equations can be related. So loss power can be, this is the active power, we can be defined PL. So PL is equal to, this is the summation, suppose n generators are there and n demands are there. We are considering the generation and demand both are the same. So this is the summation of the PGI, for the I represents the for a particular generator, and here the I will be varying from the I1 to n. So generation minus PD, this is the equivalent to the loss in the network. This is the active power. Similarly, we can calculate that for the reactive power. So reactive power QL and QG we have to calculate for each buses and each generator. So PL and QL of the power losses in the transmission network we can calculate. So PG and QG, that is represent the generated power in the network. QD and PD and QDI is the demand power. So in this bus, you know that the magnitude, voltage and angle are the known quantity. We can calculate the unknown values, that is P and Q. So using this P and Q values, we can calculate the all values. So this del value and other bus angles are swinging with this bus. So that's why it is called a swinging bus. It is also called a reference. So we have to consider the all other buses angle with respect to this bus angle. So that's why it is called a reference bus. So we can represent the power system representation. So here we can consider a four bus systems. Suppose this is the bus 1, bus 2, bus 3, bus 4, and these lines are represented as a transmission line. This is the overall a single line diagram. So this bold line represents the buses. This is the network loaded and supplied. So these are the generator, maybe machines, maybe generator or maybe load. So these are the connected loads, and some loads are represented in the form they are taking the power. Suppose we want to model this branch. So here we can represent this transmission line into pi network. Why we are not going to prefer the T network? So there is one reason. Here this pi network, because when representing the pi network, so all buses will be same. But when we are representing the T network, so we will insert a auxiliary bus in the network. So it creates the or it enhances the complexity during the calculation of the network. So always we are preferring the pi network representation. So here we are representing, this is the resistance, this will be R, this is the X, and this is the C. We can write YC by 2, here YC by 2, and this will be series. So this is series resistance plus reactance. This is the series resistance plus reactance. We have considered the same. Only the shunt parameters, which is the capacitive nature. So we have to divide half portion at this place, this node 1, and other half is placed here. So similarly for we can apply to all others. If we are neglecting this shunt parameter and resistance, so we have to represent in this form. So this is the approximate branch model of a system. So here we now come to the Y bus formulation. This is the most important for the load flow analysis. The basic equation for the load flow analysis is derived from the nodal analysis equation of the power systems. You know that we have to apply only the nodal concept. So here for this case, suppose this is the 4 bus system we are considering, this is the bus 1, bus 2, so they are mentioned the number. So this is the bus 1, this is the bus 2, this is the bus 3, and this is the bus 4. So these are the 4 buses of this system. So here we are consider the admittance, means this branch have the admittance Y12, this branch have the admittance Y23. So each branch is this one. This is the generator, this is the generator, this is the generator. This may be machines, they are not mentioned here. It may be machines, it may be generator. They are taking the power or injecting power to the bus. So these are the loads. They are surely they are load. They are considering the they are taking the power from the bus. So the node equation at I bus, a particular in generalized form for the I can be 1, 2, 3 or 4 or n number of buses. So I can be written as in the form of the, that is the Ij. Ij is the current flowing in the branch. I and J may be 1 to 4 for this system, but I not equal to J. So here Ij is equal to 1 by Zij Vi minus Vj. This is the nodal equation. So here we are applying the nodal equation, or you can apply here the KCL. So KCL at any node in general form we can see this is the equations. Suppose here we are going to apply. In this case, you know that there is one current flowing this one, or we can want to find the current flowing through this circuit. This is the I12. I12 we can find this voltage minus this voltage. So here I am considering this direction, so we have to take the current always flowing from the higher voltage to lower voltage. So we have to consider V2 minus V1 multiplied by Y12. This is the, but here we are considering the impedance. This is the Z is equal to impedance of the circuit. So this is the here. So this is the current flowing through a branch, that is the Ij branch. So this can be right in the form of the admittance. Here the impedance can be converted admittance. So why we are considering this the admittance? Why we are not considering impedance? Because here all the load flow solutions are iterative natures. They consume the lot of the times during the computation if you want to the exact solution. So if we are dividing this Z, it gives the larger time. So we have to convert this term in terms of the multiplications. So we are 1 by Z, we have to convert in terms of the impedance admittance, that is multiplied by the voltage. when we are seeing that or you can feel that computation time of a multiplication is much less compared to the division. So that's why we are just converting in terms of the admittance. So here we are taking the admittance. So that's why admittance matrix is playing main role when we are going to design or we are going to apply the load flow. Where Yij are the elements of the bus admittance, Vi is the bus voltage and Ij is the current injected in node. So this is the equation and we are consider here the ith bus and jth bus. Between these buses we are applying the node equations. So you can see current injection I1 flowing from bus I from generator or load, positive if generator, negative is the load. अगर generator है means we have to consider this is the generator, so we have to consider that this means this becomes as a generator, this becomes as a load. So this is the we can load and this is the generator we can. So based on this direction we have to see. So now we have to formulate the Y bus. So we have to apply this is the 4 bus system. For the simplicity we have to consider 4 bus system. So here we are not considering the shunt capacitive value. Here we are considering only the approximate network model. So this is the bus 1, 2, 3, 4. Here the current injected by this generator, this is the I1, current generated by bus 2, this is the I2, current taken by or injected by this load is the I3, this load is the I4, and current flowing between the branches is represented. So here we have to apply at this node or KCL. So at this KCL, you know that the sum of the entering current, here we are considering the phasor sum. Phasor sum of the entering current is equal to phasor sum of the leaving current at a particular bus. So here I1 is the entering current. What are the leaving current? I14, I13, I12. So we have to take. So we have to consider this one. So we have to apply the nodal equations for to calculate I12, I13, I14. So suppose this is the general form we already discussed. So apply, suppose I will be 1, j is equal to 2. You have to put here the plus I12, I becomes 1, I is equal to, j is equal to 3. We have to put here and plus I becomes 1 and j becomes 4. We have to calculate this one. So this is the current. Then we have to simplify for the at particular node 1. Then we have to calculate the V1, V2 in terms of the Y admittance matrix. This is the I1 is equal to V1 times of this admittance, V2 times of this admittance, V3 times of this admittance, V4 this one. So similarly for the other buses means 2, 3, 4. We have to simplify. So for the bus 2 we have to write this current and bus 3, bus 4. We have to write all these 4 buses. Here I am making this is the cross symbol. These terms, this term, this term. So and this term, these 4 terms are crosses because here we are in this diagram you can see between the bus 2 and 4 there is no direct connection. So there is no admittance. Admittance value will be 0. For the simplicity or for the generalized purpose, I am taking this is the Y24, but actually this is the 0, and this is also 0, and this is also 0. 4, 2, there is no. So remember that these two nodes Yij is equal to Yji means here we are considering suppose Y12 should be equal to Y21. This is the bilateral network circuit. So these are the same. So there is no direction. So if branch Ij does not have any connection, so this Ij will be 0. These 2 points should be remembered. So this is the we can calculate the nodal current or injection current of a particular bus. Then after the calculation of the other buses we have to formulate in form of the matrix. So this is the matrix form. Suppose 4 buses are there. So these buses, this is the I1, I2, I3, I4. So we have to represent in the form of the column matrix, and corresponding this is the V1, V2, V3, V4 we have to represent. So here I am representing this is the 0. So you know that the Y21, 24 will be 0, there is no direct correction, and for 2 also there is no correction. So we will put here the 0. So here you can see this is the a complete Y bus matrix of given network. So you know that this Y bus matrix size will be 4 by 4. So means here the total number of buses, capital N is equal to 4. So size of the Y bus we have to find 4 by 4. So this is the Y buses. These terms, this one, these two, this is the, and this is the, these are the diagonal elements. Other terms are the off diagonal. So you know that the here Y12 is the symmetry of this Y21. Y31 is symmetry of Y12. Y41 is symmetry of the Y41. Y23 symmetry of the 32. Y24 symmetry of the Y24. Y34 symmetry of the Y43. So like that you can find. Then we can represent this is the complete Y bus matrix of a given network. So here we can represent. So in general form we can define the elements of the Y bus. Y is equal to Y11, Y12, Y13, Y14. So like that this is the diagonal elements. Other is the off diagonal elements. So you can know that the diagonal elements is the summation of the few terms. So when we are seeing the in the previous circuit, you can find that this is the connecting branch. So this Y1 means first bus. We have to consider first bus. First bus, what are the branch elements are connected, transmission lines are connected. So you can see the Y12 is connected, Y13 and Y11. We have to take the addition part. Similarly, bus 2 we have to consider. Bus 2 means Y22, capital Y22. So you know that from bus 2 there is a two branches are connected. Transmission line branches are connected. One is the Y21 plus Y23. And similarly, bus 3 have the three transmission branches are connected. Y31, Y32, Y34. Similarly, Y4 have the two branches. And other of diagonals you have to consider only the between two buses. What are the transmission line admittances? Suppose this is the Y212. Y12 means from bus 1 to 2. What are the admittance? So you know that this is the negative symbol you have to take, minus Y12. This is the small Y12. This is the actual value. Y13, you know that there is a connection from bus 1 to 3. That is the what is the corresponding admittance. You have to put the value and take the minus sign. So there is a we can calculate all the off diagonal elements and as well as diagonal elements. So this is the a general form of the nodal equation of the Y bus formulation. So now we can generalize in the form of the steps or in form of the algorithm. So the matrix is the symmetric because this matrix is symmetric with respect to diagonal. So Yij will be equal to Yji. So that is the this Y bus matrix will be symmetric. So here we have to calculate the two elements. One is the diagonal elements, other is the off diagonal elements. Diagonal elements Yii, here I and j means row and column both are the same, is obtained as the sum of the admittances for all branches connected to bus I. That is the Yik is the non-zero only when there exists a physical connection between buses I and K. So suppose we have considered bus 3. So what are the branches are connected to bus 3? So we have to take these branches admittance and we simply add it and put as a YII. So all diagonal elements we can calculate. Then we have to calculate the off diagonal elements. Off diagonal elements are the negative of the admittances connected from buses I and J, between I and J. Here the I not equal to J. In this case we have to consider I is equal to J. This is the condition. Here I not equal to J. So we have to consider. This is the two steps. Using these two steps we can formulate the admittance matrix. Now come to the at the last we can summarize this lecture. So we already discussed the nomenclature of the buses and what are the variables are known, unknown, and representation of the power system network, especially in transmission line in pi network. Then basics formulations of the Y bus. So this is the approach, and thank you for the your